Today's build is something I've been really looking forward to, and it's going to drastically change how we look at this whole project. Hello everybody, Napkin99 here, and welcome back to the Minecraft Let's Play series. This episode, we're going to be getting started on the inner city with a pretty big project. We're going to be building a Japanese temple. It's not going to be any normal Japanese temple though. This is also going to be kind of our head of operations here for the Japanese city, and kind of be where we plan everything out for this area. Now for this headquarters project, I want three main things to be in this build. I want a place for a 2D map, a spot for a nether portal, and then an area for a 3D map as well. We'll get more into what all that means as the episode progresses, but this is what our outline is looking like so far. So it's not the biggest project we're going to do in this area, but it is quite a big one and probably the biggest we've done so far. But in terms of block palette, I believe this is what we're going to be going for the most part. There will of course be some other blocks mixed in, but these are going to be our main blocks. Some of this stuff is pretty easy to get. I've got a bunch of deep slate already, some concrete, but the two main problems here are going to be the quartz and the red nether brick. The quartz, we do have quite a bit of quartz ore from our netherite mining session last episode. I still have yet to mine it up. And then the red nether brick, it's not entirely difficult to craft. We really just need 2 nether bricks and 2 nether wart per block. And the problem here is going to be the nether wart, because I only have 15 of this right now. So I'm just going to go ahead and start up a little nether wart farm over here. Get this growing so that we can get these blocks hopefully pretty quick. As for our quartz, I've gone ahead and placed it all in a giant block here so we can mine it with our fortune pick. And I don't know about you guys, but I am pretty curious to see how much quartz we're going to get out of all of this. And here are the results. We got about a double chest of quartz here and about 2/3 of one here. And when translated into blocks, only gives us less than a single shulker box, so we'll see if this will get us through here. I'm thinking it might, but I haven't done the actual math on how much we're going to need here. But now that our block situation is pretty much taken care of, we do have one last issue to solve before we get building here, and that is the terrain. As you can see on the outline, some of this overlaps some wacky terrain. And usually I like to go with the terrain, but this terrain's a bit janky and kind of has a lot of small hills going up and down. It's going to be kind of hard to work with, so we're going to do a little bit of a compromise here. I think what we're going to do is try to level this out, probably about the level of the light blue wool up here. Get this terrain smoothed out up here, and probably get rid of some of this hill up here, as well as these little side hills over here. Given the nature of this being a temple, I think it's going to be fine to have it on a bit of a hill here compared to the rest of the city, because we may end up clearing this whole hill over here. But this is also a lot of terrain to do by hand, and it's not all going to be dirt, so I think it's about time we fight a wither and get a haste beacon up here. Alrighty, I made a little side tunnel in our strip mine down here. And let's do this. Die. Die. We did it. Let's go. And boom. So now we've got haste 2, so we can do all the terraforming, instant mining, stone, and all. One thing I didn't account for when making the beacon was the actual beacon base, but luckily we managed to have enough stuff to kind of hatch this beacon base together. I am going to need all this back when I'm done though. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and start terraforming up this area, and I will see you guys when it is all done. Alrighty, so the terraforming is done, for now at least. I've got quite a bit done around here. As you can see, those 2 hills that were up front here are no longer here at all. And I've kind of smoothed out this back area as well. I've actually got a fun little tool to help us kind of look at this. Boom. I've got free cam now, so I can move outside of my body. Hello, me. As you can see, we kind of smoothed it down for quite a ways here. I'm not quite done with the coast yet. I don't really want to do too much more today, as it's already took me several hours as is, and we don't need to go nearly that far yet. We also smoothed it down almost to the lake over here. You can kind of see the area that we terraformed because it's all smooth with no fluffy grass on top of it. And we also went ahead and moved the outline of the temple up and to the left a little bit, so it's a little closer to the center of the inner city. But not only did the terraforming help our look of the area, we also gathered quite a few materials over here. Of course, I picked the one empty chest, but the rest of these are pretty much full with stone, cobblestone, and dirt, and just whatever else we mined up around here. But anyways, with all the prep out of the way, it is time to start building. Alrighty, so the main building for the temple is now complete. And by the way, if my voice sounds a little bit different, I've been getting over some allergies since I started this, so I don't know if it'll show up in the recording, but if it does, that's why I sound a little different. But overall, I think this has turned out pretty nice so far. Let's just go ahead and free cam to check out the exterior. So we went for kind of classic black, white, and red color combo here, as you'll see in a lot of Japanese temples in real life. And I've been trying to get better at texturing, so I've been kind of doing some gradients on the walls, going from mushroom blocks to bone to a mix of chiseled quartz and smooth quartz. And I'm pretty happy with how this gradient on the roof down here turned out, going from black stone to a little bit of deep slate brick, but mostly deep slate tile. Adds like a little bit of a shadow underneath there. As for this upper roof, I'm not too happy with this texturing, so I tried something different on the back side. I did almost kind of like stripes to kind of mimic the different rows of roof tiles that you'd see on a roof like this in real life. I think it looks quite a bit better, and I used some blackstone to kind of mix that up as well, add a little bit of roughness to it. So I think we'll probably go ahead and do that to our other roofs. Then we've just kind of got a little bit of a design to fill the space on this side. Go back in my body here, and inside, not sure if this is exactly what a temple should look like inside. Obviously it's not done yet. I've got torches in here. I want to get candles in here. But overall, I think it's got kind of a nice grand feeling inside, even though it may look maybe a little more like a dojo. And then on these side rooms here, these are kind of just like a hallway room. We've got a staircase going up there with a little walkway to get upstairs. And then this will lead out to the little walkways outside. And now the main thing we're missing in here is the 2D map, which we're going to put on the floor in the middle here. So we may go for like a 7x7, maybe 9x9. But first I'm going to have to get a bunch of maps and glow item frames. Time for a little napkin behind the scenes action here. So I don't know if I've actually showed this on camera, but I do have a strip mine down here, kind of out in front of our starter house. Just dug into this hill and went all the way down to, I believe, -54. This is where I do pretty much all the mining I need to do, especially for iron, which, although it's not the best level for iron, I have found an iron vein down at the end of this tunnel. And since we are making a bunch of maps, we are going to need compasses. So we're going to need quite a bit of iron for all of that. So usually what I'll do is I'll just find the iron vein and just kind of follow the tuff and the iron ore until I get what I need. As for the glow squid ink, I also have an aquifer down here, just off this little water trail here. I believe up here. Yeah, so I should be able to find some glow squid in here, I would think. May have to spend a little time in this area. Alright, we're going with plan B, the ocean. I remember finding a big dark cave down in the ocean near our base, and I remember seeing glow squid in it. And here they are, so I think we'll sit around here. There might have been too many aquifers in the spot we were at, so they weren't really spawning down there. And now we've got our map inside of the temple. Looking back at this now, we probably could have gotten away with the 5x5 because there's a lot of extra space around this edge over here. But that's okay. We've got plenty of room for it here. So unless it starts causing some lag, we'll just keep it like this for now. It's nice to get an aerial view of our whole area here so we can kind of plan around that and kind of get an idea for the bigger picture here. You can see on the map we still have quite a bit of our temple to do, so let's get started on that next. Now, before we can begin on the rest of the temple, we are missing out on a couple of resources that we need to build it. One is bone blocks, which we use to texture some of the walls. So we are running pretty low on that, and we do have our little skeleton dungeon down there, but it's not very efficient. So what I've gone ahead and done is I've built a mob farm underneath the cherry blossom tree here in our farming village. So let's go ahead and free cam down there to see what we're working with. So as you can see, we've got a little mob farm going here. It's not got any mobs in it right now because we're so close to it, but it does work. I've gone ahead and built a little shrine in the middle of our walled off area so that we can go down and access all of the drops down here. I haven't decorated this area yet, but at some point we will. But as you can see, we get our mob drops down here, and we're starting to rack up some bones already. And another bright side of this is we also get bunch of gunpowder, which is good because I need a good source of that for making my rockets. And basically what I do whenever I want to farm this thing is I fly up to the top of the cherry blossom tree and I AFK up here. If we go free cam again, you can see that mobs should start spawning down here pretty quick. And I did light up some caves around here, but apparently not enough because there's not a whole lot spawning right now. But if I fly up, usually it'll despawn the caves that are around. There we go. Works like a charm. As for our other resource, I want to put a bunch of candles to light up our temple. And for that, we're going to need a bit of a honeycomb farm. We might just make a temporary one for now. We may build it where the marketplace is going, and we can probably cover it up in there. So first things first, we got to get some bees. So let's grab these. Now, if we place these, we should have a functional bee farm. These honeycombs paired with the string that we're getting from our mob farm as well should be able to get us the candles we need to build the rest of our temple. So without further ado, let's continue on with the building. Oh no. Apparently I left my game running. I sure hope I didn't lose all my stuff. Okay, it looks like my stuff is still here. But I have officially had my first death. Bam! Phase 2 of the Japanese temple is now complete. So I've done quite a bit of work off camera here, just building up the surrounding wall around the temple grounds. Built up, I believe it's called a romon gate. I'm probably not pronouncing that right. But if we walk through here, you can see we've got a nice big open area inside the temple grounds here. And how does this exactly fit in with our portal need? Well, if we go into this little side room over here, you can see we've got a big nether portal in this room. I kind of try to make it look like a torii gate. It's kind of hard to do it on such a small scale. So this is going to be our portal room for this area. I do want to add another way out of here though, probably a button somewhere, and make some sort of secret hidden door that goes out one of these walls to the outer area, because otherwise I have to go through here and all the way around. When it comes to functional builds like this, I tend to think of the functionality second, and that tends to be a problem for things, especially like a nether portal. Now this room on the right also has a function, at least for now. We've got our villager kind of stuck in a cage here, because his previous cage was in the way of this build, so I needed to put him somewhere for now until we get the marketplace up. So he's just chilling in a cage for now. And for these little side walls that go all the way around the temple here, I did kind of an interesting thing. When I was looking at some reference pictures, I noticed they have like these little shutters in the walls here. And most of them were made out of bamboo, but we don't actually have bamboo in the game yet. So I thought maybe doing trapdoors, but I liked the green contrast with the red in here, as well as the little bit of transparency like I saw in some of the bamboo shutters. So I went for mangrove leaves here. And obviously I've got a bunch of these candles in front. That kind of keeps these side areas lit up, as well as adding just a little bit of extra decoration and life to the build. As for these other two rooms on the back here, I don't really have anything for them yet. We could use them as maybe temporary storage or something, but they might just be empty rooms for now. But with the temple walls all done now, it is time to move on to phase 3, the final phase of this project. And that is the 3D map that I mentioned earlier. So what exactly do I mean by that? Basically, I want to have kind of a general layout of what this whole area looks like, kind of like the map we have inside, but built up using blocks. And I think for this one, since we are doing a Japanese temple, I want to do a little bit more of a stylized version of this. It's not going to be super accurate, but it's still going to represent a rough shape of what the landscape's going to be like. So we're going to build a rock garden in the big sand patch here in front of the main temple. Now, first up here, there is one thing I definitely do want to have in this rock garden, and that is a walkway from the Romon gate over to the front door of the main temple. And we're going to kind of follow along with normal rock garden rules and build kind of like a stone rock walkway here. So we're just going to kind of build up some rocks like so. Well, it looks a little, maybe a little too bulky. Let's go with plan B. There we go. I think that looks a bit better. Went ahead and lowered the slabs down to be level with the sand and then added some pressure plates and buttons around for a little bit of extra detail and some more depth to the walkway. I think it looks a little more natural and fitting to the size of the environment we're in here. Now for the map, since we have this walkway in the middle here, this kind of divides our rock garden in half. So I think we're going to do more of the inner city on this side, and then some of the outskirts, since it'll be more to that direction anyways, on the left. But first things first, we need a good reference point to be able to build this. So I'm going to go in here, I'm going to take off this map, and I'm going to go ahead and first make a copy of it. So we have the normal one. Put that back, and then we're going to go ahead and expand it. I don't know if you guys have ever done this before. I very rarely use this feature, but you can expand a map like this, and it makes it bigger. And I think we're going to go ahead and do that one more time for this one. Boom. Now I just got to fly around and kind of load this all in. Well, this didn't exactly go to plan. So the maps are kind of weird when you scale them. It looks like it doesn't put the one you originated one in the center. It kind of puts it in one of the corners. So I still need to play around with that a little bit more. But even then, I went with just kind of a general shape from what I know of the area that we're going to be building in. And since we are on a bit of a continent here, it ends up being like one big massive blob, which doesn't really work for the rock garden that we're going for here. So I kind of split it up into smaller sections. So pretty much this whole section here, or even up to there, is part of one big landmass, and that's kind of like our farming village over there. It's not really going to serve as a map for us, unfortunately, but I think it's still kind of a cool concept. Now, a little bit about these rock gardens. If you didn't know, the rocks in a rock garden are kind of meant to represent either a landmass or some sort of mountain, and usually somewhere in the middle of the water. And the sand then represents the water, and when you see the little divots inside of the sand, it represents the waves of the water. So we kind of tried to mimic that here using sandstone, and these are actually sandstone stairs, but they are upside down so that we get the kind of rough texture on the top there. It's just a subtle detail, but I think it adds quite a bit when you're up close and personal here. As for the rest of this, I've gone ahead and converted most of this back to grass, and we're going to put some trees and flowers in here. And there we go. Our gardens are now filled with trees and shrubs and bamboo. Now I do want to add some flowers and stuff in here as well, but I think we're going to wait until next episode because by the time this is out, 1.20 will be released and we will have access to the cherry blossom leaves as well as the cherry blossom petals that you put on the ground, and I think that's what I want to do a lot of in here. So we'll hold on to that for next episode, but for now I think we're going to go ahead and wrap up the episode here. We accomplished pretty much everything we wanted to get done in this episode. We've got our 2D map inside the inner temple, our nether portal over there in that building, and our kind of jacked up attempt at the 3D map over here. But you know what, it fits the goal. But I think we ended up with a pretty nice Japanese temple to start our inner city. But if you did enjoy this video and or learn something new, feel free to leave a like down below as it helps me grow the channel and share it with more people. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.